So good morning to everyone. So this is Selkumar from SNS College of Technology and Department of Computer Science Engineering. So now I am going to tell about guidelines for proper type selection UI UX design. Okay. So the primary focus of user interface design is anticipating what user might need to do, make it their experience as interactive as possible. So there are a few guidelines for proper type selections. There are so first one, visibility of system status. So users want to know what is going on throughout their experience with your product. So making the system states visible helps them understand the outcome of their prior interaction and decide the next steps so interactively. So without having to think too hard about it. So example who Google Maps status bar and a GPS arrow. So second one, match between the system with the real world. So designers should endeavor to mirror the language and concept users would find the real world based on the who their targets users are. So presenting information in logical order and piggybacking on user expectation derived from the real world, the experience will reduce cognitive and make system easy to use. For example, pinch to zoom. Third one, user control and freedom. So users need clearly marked exist from accidental or unwanted actions. This saves them from having no redo an entire process. So emergency exits create a feeling of freedom for users. The exits need to be clearly labeled and discoverable too. So clearly defined exist and the feeling of freedom they create the users also forces trust on your product and brand. They reduce frustration and negative feelings and help make your product more user friendly. Example, undo and redo in Google Docs. Consistency and standards. So interface design should ensure that both the graphic elements and terminology are maintained across similar platforms. For example, an icon that represent one category or concept should not represent different concept when used on a different screens. For example, search magnifying glass. Fifth one, error prevention. So one piece of advice that UI designers here often is to have a great error message and hope that no one ever sees it. So there are two types of errors, slips and slips. So error that happen unconsciously, usually caused by intention. Mistake. So error consciously made, usually a result of cognitive load or a mismatch between the user's mental model and the design. So UI designers should prevent error before they come up for the user. So that means finding and eliminating error prone functions during the user testing before launch. If it is necessary to keep a function that trends to be a error prone fashion, the users with a confirmation before they can commit the actions to avoid mistakes and frustration. To design efficiently, focus on preventing high cost errors first, then make a plan to tackle the minor frustration. So UI designers can use practical constraints, change default settings or provide confirmation options to prevent slips. So they can minimize mistakes by making the cognitive load lighter. For example, a shake to undo confirmation box on iPhone latest OS. So recognition rather than the recall. So as a UI designer, you should ensure that user don't need to remember or transfer information from one part of your interface to another. So all key elements, actions and options should be visible or easily retrievable throughout the app. So they should also be located in the same place. For example, security code autofill, flexibility and efficiency of use. So while consistent uniformity are important to build trust, and institution with users flexibility can be crucial too. So making your interface efficient by providing shortcuts and customization can build a different kind of trust with user. So this can look like a customizable dashboard, keyboard and shortcuts and touch gauges that speed up on common functions. Alternatively, like most social media platforms, you could often user control personalization. For example, Pinterest press and hold shortcut on mobile. Eighth one, aesthetic and minimalist design. So minimal design dominate user interface or reason streaming and interface do only include relevant information is vital. So design should feature something that is readily readable, keeping important components and design reduce the relatively visibility and importance of key elements. Ninth one, help user recognize dynamics and recover from errors. Users want to autonomy and control. They don't want to reach out of your company when they encounter an error, and you don't want to the either. To avoid this, it is essential to help user recognize, diagnose, and recover from mistake independently. So clear plain language error that offers an integration solution to accomplish this. Avoid using error codes. Include graphics and visuals representation of error on the for recognition. Example: Spotify failed payment notification. Help and documentation. So strong error messages are not enough to completely cover all of your base. So providing help and documentation, this is sketchable and easy to find is crucial for the long term success of any pieces of software or hardware. So this would be keep conscious. So the next step of solve problem or learn a function should be listened to cognitive way. Example: chatbots. So this is all about different guidelines for choosing correct terminology in a UI UX design. Thank you.